Okay. So let's talk about warming and drying. Plowing right through this stuff. Okay, so to be dry is to be warm. That's what as you can tell, if you start to get wet, that's where your problems start to happen. As I said, one of the things is, of course, is as we're going into camp, we're starting to go slower, so we're starting to actually dry our clothes on our body. Okay, they could be sopping wet while we're skiing, and I do mean, you know, sopping wet, because there's just no way to sometimes get all the heat away from you. But when we start to, you know, about 2 miles out or 3 miles out, we start to go slower, so we can say, can we get this stuff dry? Because when we stop, we're going to be freezing, okay, if we don't. And there's probably going to be little opportunity to dry it, unless you, as you do, as I don't know your name. Gus said, just put it into your sleeping bag, which is where it'll end up if you don't take care of it, getting it dried out earlier. Now, a concept of hygroscopicity, then, you know, your wool, your silk, your cotton are all hygroscopic. That means they pick up water from the atmosphere. Your polar fleece does not, okay? And that ability to pick up the water and then release it, the evaporation process, just like water on your skin when you blow air across it, cools you down. All right, that's what makes you cold. Now then, the principles of drying. What you really are getting to when you dry something, and this is what Ed and I do every time we run something out in the pilot line. We've got a big batch of stuff. We have to think of how we're going to dry it, and we do that by usually lowering the vapor pressure, or making the vapor pressure of it greater. Okay, so that's the molecules of water that are coming off your socks or your polar fleece. And then you have to have some way of sweeping those molecules away, and that's what you do with the mass transfer. Any wind or anything will do that, okay? So the wind can act to your advantage, all right? If you're trying to dry something and you can warm it up and the wind will sweep it away, okay? It will actually dry it faster. So this is what you need to think about, because you have to get your stuff dried out.
Dry beyond the outside air relative humidity?
Yes, right. And it will only dry to what the outside air is.
So you're not trying to dry beyond that, you're just trying to get to that.
Right. I was going to do this dry bulb versus the wet bulb, but everybody knows that they take a thermometer. You have a dry bulb temperature. I just take the thermometer here. Now I put a wet piece of cloth, cotton cloth on there, and move it in the air. The temperature starts to drop. Okay, and that's exactly what happens with this evaporation. This evaporation process is a cooling process, and it's starting to lose the heat. And you actually will see the thermometer drop. That's the same thing that's going on in your body. Your body is a big thermometer. It's self-sustaining, but as soon as something's on the outside that's dropping the pressure, like the evaporation of water, it's going to start dropping your heat as well. Another, at night, we just described the bottles and the body, the way of drying your clothes. Another way, of course, is sublimation. Sublimation is when you just let it freeze, and if you can get it into the air, the breeze, if there's a wind outside, it will actually go directly from the solid state, which is ice, to the gas state and sublime off. So I imagine almost all of our mothers, with the exception of a few of us in here, dried our diapers on the clothesline in the wintertime before they had dryers and stuff by letting it sublime. Okay, it just would freeze, and the water eventually, you know, you can pound some of the ice off, and the rest that's kind of caught in the cloth, it will sublime off if you get any kind of wind at all to take it away. You know, we often talk about wind as being kind of the enemy of the person that's traveling, because it takes energy away, but this is one case in where you can leverage it to your advantage. And in some cases, wind can actually warm you up too. If anybody's been in a Chinook or a foam wind, where the wind is coming down the mountains and it just all of a sudden heats up. I mean, the wind can be hot too and actually warm you up. I had that happen in Denali National Park, it was a -25, it had been -25 for days, and all of a sudden, the wind comes in and it's 4 degrees above Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's this warm wind's just coming down the side of the mountain, and warming us up. It's just phenomenal.
You might have more perspective when you think 4 degrees.
Compared to -25? Yes. And then, yeah, every bit of warmth helps. It becomes balmy, you know, I mean, like, you know.
Some driven to about 32 degrees.
Exactly.
At the beginning of the.
Exactly.
And in about 2 months, we'll